Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Winback, and on today's episode of our newcomer guide for Grim Dawn, we're actually going to have a bit of an overview for Act 2, and there are a lot of different things to talk about. So, we're actually going to start out with our newfound crafting potential and put together a few pieces of the guardsman's raiment. We've actually equipped the guardsman's hammer already and stuck a component on it to get it some more damage and give us this slam ability, which is now on RW. But we need to head over to the blacksmith, number 1, and get this going. It is a YouTube video, though, so feel free to like, comment, subscribe your heart out, and you'll see what we are looking at right now. So, guardsman's hammer we have got, and we are going to need 2 other pieces because that is what we can craft at the moment. We've got guardsman's breastplate for our chest piece, and then the shield is going to be the guardsman's defender. Guardsman's breastplate, just that will get us 50% bonus damage just for having a 2 set. So that's super helpful. It's also giving us 2 to overguard, which we are using on our A key right now. And then the other item down there, the shields, the guardsman's defender is going to give us the 30% reduced stun duration for the 3 sets. And it's also going to give us +2 into Force Wave. So, what you're seeing right now is me deliberating on whether or not I want to change shields, but ultimately I think it's going to be worth it. So we're going to go grab some imbued silver real quick from our component tab, take that back to our armor tab to build the defender. And the defender is giving us that +2 to Force Wave, so is the hammer. So we're getting a massive +4 to Force Wave with 2 parts of this set. And then we're getting +2 to Overguard. And you can just see, I'm going to swap the items off right now. We go down to 128% bonus physical when we switch these off. But when we put them back on, we go up to 188%. And then the base damage itself jumped up as well, because the shield actually will add some damage on there, I think, for us. I actually may just add base damage, period. I didn't read too hard. Apologies, but the damage is definitely going to jump up, so we can sell off all of this other stuff. And then there are actually a couple sets in the early stages of the game that you can get. Let's say after your first playthrough, you want to make a new character, and you've decided that, well, maybe you want to get through the first and second act a lot quicker. There are sets like the Explorer's Garb that will actually let you get about, I think it's 20% XP on top of what you're already gaining if you have the full set. Not because that's what the set gives you. The set actually gives you additional offensive and defensive ability, as well as some other kind of normie stats. But all of the items themselves give you 5% bonus XP per piece. And then those all together, you can see the math, but it helps you speed through the XP gains very, very quickly. I'm actually doing that on another character right now who started off the same level as our commando at the moment, but he is just blazing through the first couple acts of the game because of that Explorer's Garb set. So we're probably going to move that over to this this character in the next video, so I can show you guys just how quickly you can rack up XP with that set. But regardless, that'll happen in the next one. So now that we've got the illusionist all settled, we've got our big boy looking as pretty as possible to go back on the adventure. Playing dress up in RPGs is super important. If you look good, you feel good, and you're having a good time. So look as pretty as you can and kill those enemies in a cool way. Or don't. Experiment. Live your life, you know? I'm not here to tell you what to do, only how you can do it. Now, there are a lot of different things going on in Act 2 that were not going on in Act 1. Oh my god. Did you see that force wave just annihilate 10 people from existence? Yeah, I'm definitely happy with the set change. Super, super happy with the set change. But one thing about Act 2 that will make you... one thing that you should know about Act 2, is that the enemies, a lot of them are very mob-heavy enemies. So there are tons of very low-health enemies that will ultimately be kind of surrounding a single thick boy, whether that's a hero or just kind of a tanky enemy. But that said, since they're more mob-focused, since there are a lot more mobs, they die very, very quickly if you have the right build, or if your build is at least down a path that will let you, kill them efficiently. So in our case with Shockwave, Act 2 is a very, very good signifier that we can kill lots of stuff very quickly and just kind of efficiently move through the game. So as it stands right now with Force Wave, we're killing tons of enemies, getting huge swaths of XP, but still not having the easiest time with boss enemies. So that's still where our Blackwater Cocktail and our Overguard and now Slam come in, because they're all kind of dual focused, and we're not going to get one slapped by boss characters. So all that being said, Act 2 is very good for telling you where your build is currently at, or what you're doing, or what maybe you need to fill gaps in with. And it's where you're first going to start picking up dynamite. Dynamite being a very, very, very important material in this game, because not only is it used in crafting, it's also used in a lot of spaces throughout the game called detonation sites. Those sites will take you to hidden areas, hidden quest lines. It'll blow up chests that have huge goodies in them. But dynamite is super, super, super important. So if you ever see dynamite laying on the ground, go pick it up. Everyone will thank you. But yeah, so Act 2, again, this is where if you are struggling in Act 2, you're really going to want to try and figure out what's going wrong. Whether you need more points in your clearing abilities, whether you need better gear, something is happening in your build if you are not doing, or if you're dying in Act 2, because it is very much very difficult to die in Act 2, and if it's your first playthrough, this is where you're going to want to start looking at your gear. Maybe you need to farm more XP. Maybe you're missing like a relic, or you're missing some form of, synergy between your abilities. Something is going wrong that you need to go back and adjust, because this shouldn't be difficult. These enemies are very, very easy to just brush off. But yeah. So the other cool thing about Act 2, even though it is very easy on the enemy end of things, there are also a lot of side quests in this act that you can kind of, I don't want to say passively complete, but they're very easy to gather. And while you are just doing the main quest line for this act, you'll do a lot of random ass side quests that'll get you huge chunks of XP, and you didn't really have to do a whole lot of extra work for it. This is one in particular, the Rover Elder. I mean, I was goofing around over here anyway, trying to get to some forges. We found his body. We're going to pick that thing up and take it back to the camp, turn it in for a wicked easy amount of XP. So Act 2 will also shoot up in levels for you, assuming that you can get through it efficiently, and this will kind of this will just like throw you further into the last two acts of the game, and definitely make your base kit, like your abilities, your stuff like that, your abilities and your damage better, because a lot of Act 2 feels like more XP rewards than it is gear rewards. You're still fairly early on in the game, so you're not picking up tons of blues and purples and stuff like that, but you're getting huge rewards in XP to kind of curve the character towards that end. So there is your elder thingy. I'll take the XP. This guy is now aware that we've broken the barricade down, and now we've got another inventory tab too. So we're getting more inventory space. We're just going to drop the monster and frequency over there and make do with what we got. Oh, there's a lot of boars over here. Oh. Yeah. So also in Act 2, with the tons of XP that you're getting, you're also getting more devotion shrine opportunities. So in Act 2, I don't know the specific number because I can't remember it right off my head because there are a lot, but there are many more devotion shrine opportunities than there were in Act 1. And those are... We'll get you guys a video later on once we've kind of made it through Act 2. And I'll show you where the off-the-beaten-path ones are, but while we're playing through, you'll see me pick up the regular old devotion shrines that are easy to get, that you'll just happen upon. I think in this video that there's probably just 2 that you're going to see that don't require any amount of looking or adventuring or traveling to find. So, yeah. But there are a lot of hidden ones, too, in this act. And there are a lot of ones that will reward you for finding side quests, finding hidden areas with devotion points. And that is pretty wicked cool in and of itself. And then you'll actually find another group of NPCs to earn reputation with as well. So Devil's Crossing, you earned reputation by doing the main quest line, filling out side quests for them, and their quartermaster will eventually... You'll get the reputation with him to unlock specific recipes. I think he's got a couple relic recipes. If you get to, I think it's friendly, or I can't remember. It's like the 3rd tier of reputation with Devil's Crossing. He actually has a bunch of blue items that he can sell you, I think. And that is the same for, there's your devotion shrine, number 1, super easy. That is the same for a bunch of factions all across Cairn, which is the the world of Grim Dawn. But the Rovers are the second faction that you will meet in the game that you can earn reputation with, and their quartermaster is actually in Act 2. So we may head back to see him at some point, but he's going to do the same thing. Once you reach a specific reputation with the Rovers, and that's completed by doing their side quest, killing specific enemies, and farming reputation, you will have access to specific gear that they have that you can purchase from them, and they'll give you relic recipes. They'll give you tons of stuff that you do want. So you want to get that reputation high by killing, I think it's bandits and beasts. But we'll dive deeper into reputation in one of the videos coming up here, because it is its own system. It works with both bad guys and good guys, so there is a lot of stuff and a lot of nuance there that might require a bit more detail. But just remember, Rovers are the second NPCs that you can garner reputation with for better stuff. Right now, you can see, since we're just friendly, all that we can get is the oils and the tincture there. But as the game progresses, they'll give us more and more gear. We have more and more access to stuff, and it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. There are recipes in every every faction that you will need to continue on the game. Golgoth is always here. He is a side quest that you can get. Again, they just throw him at you like candy while you're doing the quest, but he's always right here. You can always just kill him and then walk right back to that encampment that you came out of. He does hit pretty hard, though. If you stand there and just get slapped by one of his big swings, he can take about 20% of your health off if you're not paying attention to it. And that's with me being as tanky as I am. Trying to figure out if Blade Dancer's handguards are going to be worth it, but we'll take them for now and see later. Oof. Let's see, what else have we got here? Oh yeah, and then Act 2 is going to be the first act that you get introduced to a system called key dungeons. Now, key dungeons, that will have its own video later on too, because there are, I believe, 6 of them. Now, a key dungeon in and of itself sounds pretty, you know, tame. But what they actually do is take your action RPG experience, even if you are playing, even if you're not playing hardcore, they are going to basically turn it into a hardcore scenario for you. It's essentially a roguelike dungeon. So you go into the dungeon with 1 life, 1 key to get in there. So you'll use what's called a skeleton key to open the door. Then you venture down into the dungeon. You cannot portal out. You cannot go back in without restarting the game and providing a new skeleton key. So if you are in a key dungeon and you die, even if you have a skeleton key, you can't go back into it for that playthrough. So the first one of those key dungeons comes in Act 2. And that is actually one of the more fun parts of Act 2. But key dungeons, since they are 1 life only, they are full of very good gear. They are full of very big enemies who want to kill you and stop you from getting all that gear. And they are full of opportunity to test your character and get a huge chunk of XP. They're very good for farming. I especially love if you have friends that you're playing this game with and you guys all go into a key dungeon together. It definitely heightens the anxiety of playing with other people, because if one of you dies, suddenly you are locked out while the rest of you have to finish the dungeon because you can't leave with the portal. It's happened to me once or twice, and it has been hilarious because I don't die in those dungeons. I make it a point not to, but when one person that we're playing with bites the big one and has to sit there bored for like 10-15 minutes, it's like, maybe you should have paid attention when that guy was punching you in the face. But yeah, key dungeons are super fun, and I'm pretty sure they're a unique mechanic to Grim Dawn. I really absolutely love their implementation, everything about them. They all have their own special bosses. They're unique bosses. They all take place in only specific parts of the game where they exist. So the first one, you'll see it in the Arcovian Undercity. There is another one in Port Valbury, which is an ethereal-based. Basically, there is a... heck. I don't want to dive too much into it. I'd rather just save that for the... video itself, so we'll wait till we get there. But just remember, it's coming up. We'll definitely dive into it within the next couple videos, at least for the key dungeon here in this act, so you guys can get a look at what it is. That'll probably be a full video in and of itself, because those do take some time to get out of the way. But yeah, so let's see, what else have we got going on in Act 2? Oh, Act 2 is one of the first, one of the first, how do we explain it? Sorry, my recording device isn't telling me the information that I needed to tell me. Oh yeah, no, sorry. Act 2, so a lot of the enemies that you're seeing in Act 2 aren't ethereal, and they're not Chthonian. And then when you're playing through Act 1, like, all that the game is telling you is like, oh, look at all these bad guys who want to take over the world. You gotta stop them, man. They're gonna get you. And then we get to Act 2, which is kind of like this weird, post-apocalyptic, deserted, like, half forest, half desert tile set, and you start seeing all these enemies who aren't those things, like bandits, and then skeletons. Like, you don't really know a whole lot about the skeletons because, I mean, you're not expecting the green guys to inhabit bones, right? They only inhabit flesh people, and you don't see any cultists around either. So this is the part of the game where you see these enemies and you'll start unlocking lore bits as to what's going on in the world of Cairn, the history of Cairn, and Grim Dawn in itself. And if that's your thing, like it is me, you'll actually find out a lot of really cool things going on in the background of this game that are absolutely fascinating to just kind of go through. I love picking up the lore blurbs on, just playing through the game and reading all this stuff, because you get this kind of understanding of, oh, why am I fighting skeletons? Oh, that's why. Oh, that's actually horrific. So, I don't know. That in and of itself was really cool to me. Oh, here is the second devotion shrine that you just happen upon when you're doing your main storyline. It is hidden kind of in the basement, but it is definitely not off the beaten path in any way. It is here, and if you walk by it, it'll pop up on your minimap, so it shouldn't be difficult for you to find in any conceivable sense. Oh, look, and we got a Devil's Charm. Now, we also picked up the Annals of Arcovia. This is going to be a side quest item to turn in for us, but it is also a bit of lore going on in the background for the kingdom of Arcovia and the previous king of Arcovia. So if you sit there and you read through the lore, which I'll pull up on the screen for you, but it tells you about how the first king met a wandering stranger, and then abandons his throne, and he takes a whole bunch of loyal subjects with him, and they wander the world, and they basically become this faction of NPCs that you deal with, the rovers. Meanwhile, we won't spoil it until we get to that point in the video, but other stuff is happening in that kingdom that leads to all these skeletons, all these undead, and it's really fascinating stuff. It's just super well written. I wish it could be fleshed out a little bit more in terms of like voice acting and stuff like that. But for what they are working with right now with the Grim Dawn team, with the number of developers that actually work on this game, I think they did a fantastic job doing like this atmospheric storytelling for the game and keeping the players who want to be interested, because it is not in any way boring to read if you get interested in lore. If you're just here to, hack enemies to bits, I mean, do you, boo-boo? Nobody's going to tell you otherwise. That's what the game is all about. But there is a very cool, sprawling mesh of stuff going on underneath the game that you play. And then we're just reading through the lore itself. This is all talking about King Rowan, him meeting Mugdrogan. There is a lot of different references in your devotions and your items and your abilities. Everything connects in some way back to the lore that's sitting underneath the gameplay in this game. And once you start putting those pieces together as a player, it's actually its own tiny reward. So, yeah. Do what you will. I mean, play the game how you want to play it, but that is really cool stuff for me. That's going to be it, though. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.